So taking up the second leg of that argument, I mean, we do recall that one of the biggest controversies in the budget was the Lagos-Calabar rail project, which we understood that there was already counterpart funding about to be provided. There were stories that one of the reasons why the president was going to China was because of the counterpart funding, you know, to secure the counterpart funding for the Lagos-Calabar project. First of all, can you confirm if that was true? Is that true?
Yes, it is true. It's one of the issues on the table.
So it is China, not Japan, that is providing the counterpart funding?
The president is interested in getting support from China for Calabar, Lagos. If Japan is there, good for us. I don't know.
Okay, now the reason why I ask this is because people felt that if the controversy had blown open between the executive and the National Assembly, that it was not wise for, you know, that matter to have come out that the president was still going to be making a trip to China. Because then, if there is controversy over it and we're not able to provide our own monies, then what was the guarantee that the country we're going to was going to provide the money?
The budget is, as I said to you earlier on, the discussions are going on between the executive and the parliament. And I believe that whatever differences are there, they will be resolved in the interest of the nation.
All right, if we could talk about the swap deal. Who initiated the swap deal, Nigeria or China?
This is the yuan exchange
yes.
for opening of letters of credit, am I right?
Yes.
Well, you know that before this administration came, Nigeria already had a policy, had adopted the yuan as a currency of foreign reserve. It's convenient for China, convenient for Nigeria that this is put in place. China is this country's leading trade partner. Last year, Nigerians bought goods worth over 1.5 trillion naira from China. Our trade with the US is about 1/3 of that. The trade with the United Kingdom is 1/8. So it makes sense. I mean, I'm not an expert, but as a layman on the street, it simply makes sense that you know, the shortest distance between two lines is just the 2 points is a straight line. So why do you go through dollar, buy yuan, buy things from China instead of you can do this directly?
Yeah, I get the point.
And obviously, in addition to that, given that we have the paucity of dollars, you know, and some China says, look, you can access as much as 5-6 billion. That's enormous. It's a big relief for the central bank, for the government and the people of this country.
All right, I get that. It's just that, I mean, whoever initiates it, it will have an influence on the interest that will be paid on that. Then could you also tell us how much yuan are we getting and how much naira are we swapping?
No, I have no, the discussions have not been concluded. Initially, they were offering up to $6 billion. I guess the CBN governor is still on the issue.
Okay, but the thing about this is, I don't know if you heard about this line of arguments where they say, well, yes, as many may thumb up the swap deal, but the implication of that is that, well, China will now be buying crude in naira, and that will reduce the amount of foreign exchange that we earn. Is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, I have no idea of those details, that to be honest with you. It's important for Nigeria to get more buyers for its crude. If China will take more of our crude, fantastic idea.
So how long is this swap deal going to be for? 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years?
As the discussions are ongoing, and you know that the Chinese are on it. The architecture of the international financing is growing, is still being defined. And so far, Nigeria is the third, I believe, country in the world to engage China in this way. And I believe that they are working on many more countries to also engage in this process.
Have we concluded how it will be priced? Is it going to be with the parallel market or the official market, the way the dollar is priced?
The discussions are going on. As I said, the CBN governor is on top of it. One thing that I would like to say is that it is a mistake for people to try to present this as a rejection of the US dollar or some backlash against America or anything like that. This government maintains excellent relations with China, with the United States. We maintain excellent trade relations with all of these countries, and the idea is certainly not to punish one country against the other. It's purely for the interest of this country.
So, away from the president's trip, I mean, there have been some local trouble, and some of our viewers believe that we should ask you a question. You did release a statement on the herdsmen and farmers clash in Agatu when that happened. But some people felt that that statement wasn't strong enough. And, you know, following on that, there's also been isn't an alert by the DSS about the killing of some herdsmen in some parts of the southeast, which has been denied. How is the presidency responding to this crisis between herdsmen and farmers?
Well, the idea is to find a consensus with the governors on how to deal with the problem. And the president took the matter to the National Council of States, where the governors sit with the vice president to solve the problems of the country. And their decision was that they will go back to an old idea that had been there before, which is that carve out grazing reserves for the cattle rearers, so that there is a clear line between what is farmland, what is a grazing reserve. And you avoid this kind of conflict, because it is when cattle are driven into farmlands and then you know that you have this kind of problems. And of course then the president has also ordered for an intense kind of military presence in those areas, in order that you know, this kind of killings don't continue. A lot of communities wisely avoid, you know, also, you know, taking from the cattle of the Fulani, because the easiest way to get them provoked is to also to take their own cattle. If you don't touch their own animals, you probably would. And then you get the trouble of the farmers also. As a Fulani man, you drive your cattle into their own farmlands. So I think that the government is trying to draw a clear line of separation so that conflicts don't continue.
Well, most of the governors have, you know, raised an objection to grazing reserves and say that they have a preference for ranching instead. Is the federal government looking in that direction?
Yeah, as a long-term policy, ranching will be there. It will be there. But also don't forget that country is environmentally challenged in so many ways. For the most part, states in very far northern parts of the country, they don't have green grass, and they are increasingly coming under attack, you know, by desert encroachment. Now, if you have animals of that sort, you have to drive them to greens where they would find what to eat. So it's a challenge we face as a country. The country is being attacked by coastal erosion, and coastal communities are being forced to move into the hinterland. They have to find what to do and where to settle.
So you know, in all of this, just let me comment here. In all of this,
as one country, there has to be accommodation for one another.
Mr. Shehu, in all of this, Nigerians would love to know what the government is doing about the killings in some parts coming from this, altercation between the herdsmen and farmers A case in point is in Agatu community. How is the government going about that?
Yes, sir. As I speak to you now, I know that the president has ordered for deployment of the army to secure those places. It's going on, and the communities are involved in discussions. The governments, Nasarawa, Plateau, are involved in all of those things.
All right, then I want to thank you for talking to us today. Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity. Thank you for your time. But we'll be back in a minute, still on the same matter though. Join us again.